Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for joining. My name is David Sloan, and today I'm going to run through our Megaport Internet proposition with a quick demo in deploying Megaport Internet within the portal into a number of different scenarios. And this is a very useful service that we're offering. It's part of our Megaport Live Tech Drop-ins. This is an ongoing series of events that give you a taste of what's happening within Megaport or the wider NAS community. So well worth joining. So what we really want to talk about first is to really set some context and to level set about Megaport's network proposition, and so you can actually understand what we're going to talk about further in the demo. So Megaport's network proposition is based on the concept of network as a service, or NAS. And NAS provides a network in a way that's much more aligned with cloud subscription models, if you're familiar with those, with services being available on demand and in near real time. NAS provides you, the user, the underlying building blocks for organizations like yourselves to deploy a whole host of technical solutions to match those operational business requirements you find yourself in. So what makes the NAS platform different? Well, first off, it's the reach. Megaport NAS is part of a virtualized ecosystem, which is global, built on all pre-existing hardware. And so this gives you the ability to deploy capacity to all the well-known cloud service providers, giving access to thousands of IT-based services, as well as having connectivity into 1,000 data centers across the globe. And this can all be done in near real time in a software-defined manner. The other thing about Megaport's NAS network is it has very predictable performance. It's like having your own private fiber lines. Your data travels over our global network, and it's private, and it has no internet within the core. And all these components can be linked together with what we call virtual network cross connects. These are VXCs, and they are layer 2 MPLS pseudo wires. And all this has the added benefit of making it highly secure. Another benefit really is you pay for only the capacity you wish to deploy, as all of this is pre-built and virtualized. You can scale that capacity up and down on demand, and you no longer have to worry about traffic spikes or wasted capacity. This ensures you have good end user application performance. The Megaport components are very versatile. They allow you the ability to launch those virtual cross connects I mentioned into our network to create internet connections to things like physical ports within a data center, to connect to devices like virtual routers or virtual firewalls, or to be part of your virtualized SD-WAN environment, all within our network, facilitating those connections and allowing you to reach those branch locations or critical remote resources. So this makes NAS services very cost effective. This can all be designed and deployed and fully operational in minutes, and can be available for only the term that you need. And this reduces your upfront infrastructure costs to essentially zero, as your Megaport assets are virtual and require no capital investment or hardware provision. And you can design and deploy and manage and monitor all on a single portal. It's point and click. You bring your cloud service keys, and you can establish private connectivity very simply. But for those with more sophisticated needs, both Terraform and API build calls are available for a whole host of deployment and management scenarios. So here's a quick snapshot of our global reach. You can access Megaport in over 1,000 locations across the globe, with another 150 expected within the next 12 months. And please note there are two types of locations where you can connect to Megaport's network. There's an installed location, and these locations contain Megaport hardware. And there's an enabled location. These locations share the same campus or metro area as a Megaport installed location. Megaport's hardware is not located in an enabled location facility, but you can access it through private intracampus or intra-metro cross connects, as well as Megaport being able to provide last miles. And you can see we have a very strong presence in NAM, EMEA, and APAC, as well as having strength in Mexico, Brazil, and with 41 new sites announced in India coming on board within the next 3 months. So you can see this is a very compelling proposition. So back to that Megaport Internet. Here's a quick overview of the connectivity options available for integrating Megaport Internet services. So here we have the blue port, these blue ports here. This is your physical connection to Megaport within a data center. You connect your infrastructure via a cross connect, and we can arrange that also with capabilities ranging from 1 gigabit to 400 gigabits. Ports are available in 1,000 data centers globally, ready for immediate use. Right, the next one is the green device, the MCR, the Megaport Cloud Router. This is a virtual layer 3 routing service available up to 100 gig. Represented here is a simplified VRF. It enables seamless traffic exchange between 2 or more cloud environments, or many more, including internet connectivity available in around 129 locations without requiring any physical infrastructure on your part. It acts as a transit point at the edge for multi-cloud or hybrid deployments. And then finally, there's the red device, the Megaport Virtual Edge. And the MVE creates a virtual point of presence available from 2 core to 32 core with up to 128 gig of RAM. It's on-demand virtual network function platform that allows you to deploy SD-WAN gateways, virtual routers, and virtual firewalls using all your own licenses in minutes with coverage in 129 global locations. MVEs are ideal for extending your network to the edge and bridging public and private routing domains together securely. So what do we offer with our internet proposition? Well, it's immediately scalable and orderable from 20 megabits to 10 gigabits with larger bandwidth such as 25 gig, 50 gig, and 100 gig available in some locations. Flexible terms including committed bandwidth on term and increased capacity available by the hour for peaks in internet traffic are options you can take with this service. And all of it is fully deployable via API and Terraform. Our standard service deployment uses static routing with a single /34 IPv4 address or a /64 IPv6 address. It's a simple, easy setup method, ideal for small or predictable networks. For more sophisticated users, you can bring your own PI space and advertise this using BGP, or we can allocate US/24 PA space. And we offer a range of resiliency options to improve availability and business continuity. We can provide additional IP addresses and allow you use of local private ASs, which means you can use BGP if you don't have your own PI allocation. So with that, we'll jump into the portal and I will give you a demo of the service. Okay, and I'm going to provision Megaport Internet on a port in Frankfurt, on a MCR in Paris, and an MV in London, just to show you how versatile this is. So first off, we'll go to the port in London. So here is, the port in Frankfurt. Here is the port in Frankfurt, and we're just going to simply create that connection. And if I would like to just draw that we are in FR5 and we are on diversity zone blue. So I'm going to create that connection into Megaport Internet. So here we have a whole range of different options, cloud, AWS, Azure, private VXCs to other locations or other services within the Megaport portfolio, Megaport Internet, which is what we're going to discuss, our IX service, a marketplace with a load of different other providers, which can provide you immediate ecosystem that you're available, and service keys if you want to connect to people outside, a Megaport customer outside your own network. However, we're going to look at Megaport Internet. So as you can see, I mentioned before that we are in diversity zone blue. We maintain these diversity zones so that we don't do maintenance on both blue and red zones simultaneously in a metro area. So what I'm going to do with good housekeeping, I'm going to buy a service, a Megaport Internet service in a blue zone. So I'll click on the blue zone, I'll click next. And here we have the section of the menu which we can compile to suit ourselves. So we have a naming convention here. You can overwrite this if you choose to, with whatever naming convention you want to use. You can also have a free text here. The service level reference is a free text area where you can put PO references or project references or whatever else you like to do. Next thing is the rate limit. So how much internet do we want to buy in Frankfurt? We're going to go for 10 gig straight away. Then we have the VXC state. So this gives us the ability to shut down the VXC without deleting it. Now, this is great for initial deployments, or it's great for testing failover scenarios where you don't want to delete the service. You just want to shut it down whilst you're actually testing those failover capabilities. Then these services use .1Q, so you're able to use either completely, you can completely untag it and have the service presented as untagged, or you can have an auto-assigned VLAN, or you can assign your own VLAN. In this instance, I'm going to assign VLAN 101. I can then select my contract term, and remember, you can still take that burst if you need it, if you've committed to a smaller bandwidth, or you can commit to a longer bandwidth and take advantage of better rates. And then you can add API tags, and then you just simply click next. This will then give you a summary of the service you're about to procure. We add that VXC, we review that order. This then validates, makes an API call in to see if the resources are available. That is available, so we can order that service and begin that provisioning process. So that's nice and simple. Okay, so if we wait a couple of seconds. Okay, so that's the port done. Next, it's exactly the same process with the MCR, Megaport Internet. The MCR is in a red diversity zone here, so I'm going to select the red local diversity zone. As you can see, we give latency to the actual internet access router on ramps, so that is very local. It's sub 1 millisecond. So this other one within Paris, all built diversely in different data centers. I'm just going to, in this instance, I'll do 20 meg. I'll decide to keep my VXC shut down as part of my provisioning process. I'll select it on a 36-month term, and I'll leave adding API resource tags, but I'll select next. That gives me an option to add that to the MCR. There's your summary. Review the service, and that should provision. So that's the deployment going through as we speak. The MCR also comes with the ability to operate IPsec with the device. So that's another function that you could use with the internet to make that harden that device. And then finally, there's the MCR. So we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to create a Megaport internet service. The MCR is in the blue zone. So I'm going to pick a blue zone, but I can choose to break out in different countries. So I could choose to break out in London, which is local, but I'm going to do Amsterdam, which is a little bit further away. You could be for all sorts of reasons. You want presence in London, you're close to resources, your end user base might be in Amsterdam. So you can maintain more of your, have a middle mile to connect more of your service over our backbone. So we click next, we select a speed. So we'll say, I don't know, a gig in this instance. We'll leave it untagged. We'll leave it enabled. We'll select that on a 24-month term. We'll click next. We'll add the VXC, review that order, and place. That will validate very quickly first. So the MVE itself is covered by a whole different Megaport Live sessions. So you can look at what particular vendors we support, see those live sessions related to that. So just to look at the service in detail. So within the Megaport portal, you can then look at what you've ordered. You can change some of these variables like the name, the speed, the VLAN tags if you choose to. So we'll move on from that. You can then look at, you can add your BGP connections here, and that will go through a manual process, but however, you can automate your ordering, or you can request additional IP addresses. This gives you the service status and all the relevant information, things like your IPv4 allocated address, your /64 allocated address. And then finally, you can look at logs when the service was up and down. Then you've got usage, which tells you what you're doing in terms of your traffic profile, both on traffic and packets. And then finally, you have billing information. So that tells you what you've been billed for that service. So I hope that's been useful. We'll just close that down. So, is there any questions at this point? Let me have a look. Um, okay, so we always get this one. Do you support 95th percentile billing? So I know the answer to this. It is we do not support 95th percentile billing at this time. However, you can flex, as I said, the range of bandwidth. So you can take a component of it on term, and then you can flex in the short term the bandwidth if you need more for particular events or incidents. And then the other one is what route advertisements do you offer? Well, we can go from default only all the way through to full table, which I think is 900,000 routes from memory. So that's quite extensive in terms of what we're able to offer. So finally, just to recap, the Megaport Internet proposition allows your organization to have internet capability whilst having no upfront investment from just a minimum hourly term. It creates an instant point of presence in up to 18 countries, only requiring a very small amount of configuration. It's great for projects both short and long term. It's very easy to deploy with documentation on our website, both on just manual configuration through the portal, and there's API information at megaportdev.com. And I hope this has been useful. And please look out for other Megaport live sessions as they are great sound bites to see what's happening and evolving in the world of cloud and network connectivity. So until then, thank you and goodbye.